First of all, I must thank the OPA for inviting me to address this August gathering about this geopolitical impact on national security. And the presentation roadmap is like this: defining geopolitics and national security in a brief way, and dynamics of geopolitics, hard powers and soft powers of geopolitics, and geoeconomics, where this power energy sector is stem from, and geosocial things, geoenvironmental, and other issues. You know, this current context in global politics, this is kind of a timely topic because we are now experiencing kind of conflict infested world. Basically, the Europe at war after the Second World War. It's not a war between Ukraine and Russia. It's a huge geopolitical war, and the West Asian countries are in a very stressful situation after this Israel-Iran thing. Most of the energy trade lines and also the production lines being affected if Hormuz Strait and also the Red Sea channels being somehow affected by a full-scale war between the Iran and Israel. And also after the Second World War, kind of a new world order was imposed on us by the victorious Western powers. Now led by the USA, United States of America, now the same power, the United States of America, is deconstructing the same world order. Now we can witness it in every sphere of geopolitics. And now we are going to have these basic definitions. What is national security? It's a big question. What is national security? Right? The national security and defense of a sovereign state and its borders, including its citizens, that's the most important thing. Economy and institution, which is regarded as a duty of the government to protect it. And this national security is intertwined with the national sovereignty. Our land borders, territorial waters, exclusive economic zone, then these maritime borders and the continental shelf. If we consider all these things, the Sri Lanka's size is much bigger. It's around more than 20 times more if we consider all these factors, including the continental shelf. It is not recognized still, but I think in the time to come, UN will recognize it. A lot of disagreement between us and India and various other countries, but I think we will be having a huge continental shelf with a huge resource base as well. And the state institutions, to protect state institutions and also the people of the country and their liberty and sovereignty, the free will to determine their own future. So geopolitics will affect all these things in this current world context. So I am now focusing on four factors, four key concepts. They are geoeconomics, geopolitics, geosocial, and geoenvironmental. These are key concepts I am basically going to explain. As far as this geopolitics is concerned, I think these learned professionals will explain it better. The structure of geopolitics is concerned, the one side it's hard power, the military might of a big nations, including the small nations like us. There are many military alliances, the NATO, earlier there was one called SEATO, led by US, but it's still not there. And recently Japan, South Korea, and some other countries very close to US trying to form a eastern type of NATO, but still not materialized. And Quad. Quad means the India, Australia, Japan and USA to contain the China's expansion. And the AUKUS, the Australia, UK and US. This is kind of another military alliance, especially focusing on the Indian Ocean. You know, the one person called Robert Kaplan, he wrote a book called Monsoon. One chapter is dedicated to the Sri Lanka as well, right? There he focused on this Indian Ocean. He argued that in 19th century, the global trade and geopolitics mainly determined by the Atlantic Ocean. Then in 20th century, it was Pacific. And 21st century, it would be and it will be the Indian Ocean. Thereafter, the Obama administration changed the attitude and called this thing the Pure Asia and focusing on the Indian Ocean. The AUKUS to handle this situation. And to counter that, we know that the loosely connected military alliance between China, it's a big country, the emerging country, as far as the PPP values are concerned, that's the biggest economy. And in the time to come, I think within decades time, they will be they are the biggest navy and also the biggest air force in this part of the world, not only this part, maybe the world. And Russia, it's a very big land power with a huge amount of nuclear arsenals, and Iran and Pakistan and maybe time to time North Korea. These are very loosely connected military alliances actually shaping this part of the world. And there are soft powers after the Second World War. The USA led Western countries, they have some Bretton Woods agreement, and also they formed this, what is this thing called United Nations. And within that United Nations, they formed this UNSC. That's the only, that executive powers, only executive powers vested with the UNSC. And also the UNHRC to oversee our human rights cases. And also the ICC, ICJ, time to time they summon our leaders to punish them. Recently, they somehow managed to get Duterte of Philippines in front of ICJ, but not to touch Netanyahu of Israel. They can't do that, right? And also the other organizations, the financial organizations, multilateral organizations, in order to address the balance of payment issues. It is IMF, it's here right now. And also the World Bank in development needs. And also the ADB, Asian Development Bank, basically focusing on Asia, headed by the Japan. And also the China, a few years ago, established a new bank called Asian Infrastructure Bank, AIIB. It's also disbursing money here in Sri Lanka as well. All these things are trying to, frame their own economic agendas. And also the WTO and this tariff war clearly explain to us how this WTO's role reshaping our world. But this Trump administration, they doesn't care about all these institutions, the multilateral institutions. His actions are basically unilateral things. That's why he is deconstructing the multilateral world that has been there for 7 decades. Now he is deconstructing it. And also the electronic payment platforms like SWIFT. It has been used. It has been used when sanctions are being imposed. They use this SWIFT to impose their sanctions to other countries, right? So let us go to the geoeconomics, the material basis, minerals, it's very clear. And out of this mineral, now it's very important thing, called rare earths, I will explain it, and maybe the fossil fuels, right? Although we are talking about the green energy, all these things, fossil fuels are still dominating. Still 82% of the of our current day energy consumption coming from fossil fuels. That means oil, gas and coal. And technological basis, innovation, startups, new smart age. You know that we are living in the fourth industrial revolution. First industrial revolution there in 1760 to 1860. We called it basically the muscle power replaced by machine power. After 1860, it's fossil fuel age, and 1960, it's information age, and after 2010, we called it smart age, because disruptive technologies, various kind of disruptive technologies, nanotechnology, biotechnology, gene technology, AI, Internet of Things, all these things are disruptively, that changing our world, synthesizing each other. We called it smart age, right? And trade, basically the value chains, and also the trade routes. These are part of the geo-economics. And manufacturing basis, the labor, skilled labor, accessibility to skilled labor and all these things. And these are now affecting us, because now USA imposed us, I think, 30% of tariff. And because of this, now we have to change. We have to improve our skills. We have to improve our efficiency. And I think in year 2000, similar thing happened when this preferential things, the quota system was abolished. But our companies were able to handle this situation. Right now we have to do it, because abruptly the Trump administration was doing that. These are geo-economics things. And also the services sector. Also this Trump administration is all focusing on the merchandise things. The services sector is very big thing. Very big thing, and it's becoming bigger and bigger. The tech services, finance, banking, online services, and various other things. Even in Sri Lanka, the services sector is growing in a rapid way. So, power and energy in geopolitics, that is my theme, right? Right. I wrote a book called Power and Power in 2014 to explain it. The material power, that is, we know this electricity and other things, and how it related to the political power. This was published in 2014, and I think it got kind of a literacy award in 2016. But there I tried to explain the correlation between political power and the generally material power that we are now experiencing. And basically power and energy plays kind of a big role in geopolitics, modern development and economic architecture of the world. And the word energy security, this is very important. The energy security is very much related to the national security. If you are losing the energy security of a country, your national security is also going to be lost. So this is very important thing. And 2015, as a Minister of Power and Energy, we published this. How to achieve energy security in a sustainable way, by 2030, right? There's various plans to be implemented to achieve this. Please, if you have time, please go through this. Unfortunately, that has not been implemented properly, but it's a very important thing. And for the last 2 decades, several new things happened in energy sector. Some kind of revolutions. One is the shale revolution happened in USA. Thereby USA has been able to achieve what you call this energy security and energy sufficiency. So no one can now dictate terms to USA. Earlier, the Saudi Arabia, the OPEC countries, they all can impose things to USA, even the Canada. Now they are little bit of a self-sufficiency in this field by introducing this shale technology. Most of the environmentalists oppose this move. Even they are in Europe, they ban it, but like the right-wing populist, Donald Trump, his slogan is drill baby drill. I saw when he was there in Scotland, he asked the people, do away with these windmills, man, drill and drill. That's the way for the country, right? That's the attitude. And they somehow managed to, after the Obama management, they somehow achieved this self-sufficiency in energy by way of shale revolution. Another thing is the green energy revolution. Photovoltaic solar and concentrated solar, wind energy and some other energy technologies. In year 2010, when we introduced rooftop solar, it was a big impact right now. Right now, Sri Lanka is producing energy from rooftops much more higher than the coal power plant in Puttulu, right? But it's a very small step. We must thankful to the Mr. Mahipala, B.A. Mahipala, who initiated this thing in his house. CEB was opposed to that move, but I supported it move. Now it's a big thing, very big thing, and also the now CEB is curtailing these huge steps, progressive steps taken by the people from 2010 to 2025. And the green revolution basically now is in affordable way. Right now the coal plant in 2010, the coal unit cost was around 7 rupees. The solar cost is around 70. Right now the coal, this thing is around 20 rupees and the solar thing is now 60. Now PUCSL Vice Chairman is here, right? Now they are trying to reduce it as well, not them, the CEB are trying to reduce it, but because of the China's intervention, right? That price drastically dropped to affordable level, right? The green energy revolution. And also another revolution in energy storage. You know this wind energy, solar energy, they are intermittent sources. They are changing. So we need kind of a backup storage. There are many other ways to store things using hydropower and all that, but battery power would be one solution right now. Thanks to the China again, then this battery manufacturing thing is now in a very affordable way. And also this rare earth, this highly important rare earths are coming into this picture because of this battery technology and EVs, right? And so batteries are now available. I think between 50 rupees per kilowatt hour unit, you can store your energy, right? And also the electric vehicles everywhere right now because of these new battery technologies. And rare earth supply is totally dominated by China, right? When Trump imposed huge taxes to China used this card, stop rare earth to USA. Now Trump has to, somehow go to the discussion table, negotiating table, and he was forced to compromise with China because the rare earth technology and other things now dominated by China. And the fourth revolution is hydrogen. It's coming up. It's coming. Like this EV, by 2030, you have hydrogen powered vehicles, maybe buses, the cars, everywhere. I know these petrol sheds everywhere, basically the foreign people, they are putting up all these things, keeping in mind that one day they are going to have this hydrogen things to be distributed in Sri Lanka. Right. The impact of power and energy on politics, economy and security. One thing is the scarcity of energy sources, right? Scarcity. And you know this, those who having huge potentials of energy, they have unique advantage against others. Other thing is price. If the fossil fuel price goes up, it will affect everyone. But fossil fuel producing countries, they earn a lot of money. If fossil fuel prices going down, then we all have kind of a economic growth, social satisfaction, more consumption and all these things. But the oil producing countries, they have serious economic consequences. That's why EU is trying to cap the Russian oil at $60 per barrel, because the Putin's expenditure is much more than that. If they reduce it to $45, the Russian oil industry totally collapse. That doesn't mean that Russia's production cost is around $45. It may be less than $10, but other, that overheads are there. So it's a very important thing when we consider this price tax on these things, and adverse effects are everywhere. This because of Ukrainian war, you can see everywhere in the Europe, facing very serious kind of things. And I'm now trying to explain very few things, how this energy thing affecting the political arena of a country and also the world. First, I think you may heard a person called Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, who started this fossil fuel revolution in Pennsylvania, right? He established a company called Standard Oil in 1882. 1882, he established this Standard Oil thing. Within 1 decade's time, he was the richest man on the earth. And he tried to control everything there in the USA, the railroad networks, the steel and iron ore industry, various other things. So the American politicians, they get scared. They wanted to somehow curtail this man. They used the Sherman Antitrust Act to curtail him and dissolve the Standard Oil in 1911 by Mr. Roosevelt, right? Unless otherwise, the America would be governed by this monopoly led by Mr. Rockefeller. And this antitrust thing was used after that. But this is a very important example how these big monopolies of energy trying to control the politics, the country's politics and also the global politics. And first of all, these fossil fuels were not much more important. Fighter planes are very, very small, and also most of the ships being powered by coal. But in the Second World War, it's a mechanized war. It's the first time a huge mechanized war. Fighter jets were there, and also the huge armored ships were there, and huge battle tanks were there, right? And it's a mechanized war. So you need more and more energy to fuel your war. What happened to the Japan? Japan's initial this thing was a very successful story. They invaded Indochina, they invaded various other things. They defeated French colonies, they defeated the British people, but America intervened, the USA intervened and blocked. They imposed kind of an oil blockade or the embargo on Japan. So Japan really wanted to have their own oil and gas to fuel their war. They were eyeing to invade Indonesia and Borneo to capture oil fields. But they were very upset if US got involved in this game, their plans will be sabotaged. That's why they bombed Pearl Harbor first. It's a preemptive attack to divert the USA attention so that they can invade Indonesia and somehow manage to establish their own supply lines in the eastern part of the war. And other thing is this Hitler's invasion there in Stalingrad, right? His invasion was the most mechanized, most modernized invasion up to that level, and his invasion was called Barbarossa. And he somehow managed to capture Poland, then Ukraine, then to Moscow. But the Germany, they didn't have much energy. Energy is there in Baku. It's there in Stalingrad. So they invaded, they called it a separate operation called Blue Operation to capture these oil fields in Baku. There the Soviet Union prepared, right, and attacked them. It's a huge battle, the Stalingrad battle. It's a death, kind of a battle for both Hitler and Stalin. Somehow the Soviet Union won the war. Thereafter Hitler was finished. And the next day, the Kook semicircle battle was erupted, and thereafter the Soviet Red Army able to capture Berlin. So his plan was totally scuttled. If Hitler was to be succeeded in this endeavor to capture Baku oil fields and the West Asian things, he would be govern the whole world, right? It was scuttled. He was defeated there in the Baku oil field by the Soviet Union. And right now you can see the same energy war between Russia and Europe. Russia used their oil, gas supply thing to somehow managing the sentiments of the European people. And I am not going to explain much, but long history of Arab-Israel war, right now we can see that. And also the collapse of Soviet Union in 1987, but before that the Chernobyl accident was happened. That was the initial stage for collapsing the Soviet Union. And also the Japanese stagnation of their economy after the Fukushima incident in 2011. All these incidents clearly shows to us the energy, securing energy is much more important to have a kind of a national security in a country and also the global arena as well. So impact of energy on our politics and security in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka 2001, we have power cuts, government collapse. Right, Ms. Chandika Kumartunga's government collapse. And LTT was on the verge of victory. Fortunately, we were able to somehow manage them and later defeat them. And in 2022, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's government, power cuts and government collapse. So the power cuts are very much related. The energy scarcity, the price of energy is very much related to the political stability and social unrest. We must recognize all these things. In the time to come, we also must learn about these things. And this is power and energy geopolitics, the vulnerability index. We are in the orange range, right? Some countries are in the green range because they are self-sufficiency in energy. And also some other problems because of this energy problem, because excessive burning of fossil fuels. They created this global warming, right? Global warming means sea level rise, melting of ice caps, threat to biodiversity, threat to food security, right? And these are very serious things. UN agencies in 1991, they recognized this problem. They framed this UNFRC thing, but unfortunately no big country including USA was trying to implement these things. That's why now we are facing very serious environmental consequences. As an island nation, we will face very serious problem in the time to come because of this. It related to the energy problem, because this global warming, the carbon emission and global warming, 70% of the global warming because of the burning of fossil fuels. And impact of geo-environment, you can say the water wars will be here. Now there's a kind of a tension between China and India because of Brahmaputra, and there's a tension between Pakistan and India because of Indus River Agreement, right? And also various other countries, there are problems, but we can proudly say that our Justice Veeramantri, who solved this Danube River conflict in 1997, created kind of a theory and also kind of a firm ideology in order to resolve that type of things, because we Sri Lankans, we have our own hydro systems based on Buddhist philosophy. And also the geosocial things, I am not going to explain much, but one thing is clear, the religious things. So something happened in New Zealand. Some Christian fundamentalists shoot down Muslims in mosque, and in retaliation, the Sri Lankan Islamic jihadists attack our Christian churches. That's the thing. That's the thing. That is not confined to the countries. It's a global phenomenon. The religious, the Palestinian-Israel thing. Some people, they are in the Kolpiti Junction to protest this Israel, what do you call this, synagogue, right? This is a national threat to us and things like that. And something happened in Gaza, but problems erupt here in Sri Lanka. If you are not going to manage these things, you must know that it will grow into unprecedented levels, right? Because these are human feelings. And also the USA, although it's a very politically, economically very huge power, they have been now isolated because of this Gaza problem. In the time to come, next UN session, the France is going to propose a separate state for the Palestinians. It will create serious problems for UK. The Starmer's party also now being divided, separate party being formed. So lot of political problems in Europe and also in other part of the world because of these religious things, and also other West Asian countries, and also some other ideologies like Marxism, kind of a brotherhood between the Marxist parties. For example, this Cambodia, Thailand conflict. A lot of Marxist countries like Laos, North Korea, and all these countries supporting Cambodia, right? Because of the ideology, right? And also the other thing, the liberal democracy. Some liberal democratic agencies, they are in USA, they are in Europe, trying to spread their ideas here in Sri Lanka as well. They're supporting various political parties, some international kind of alliances. And also the serious spreading out of new movements like right-wing parties. It's the right-wing populist Trump, but there's a right-wing politician there in France, Marine Le Pen. She might not contest the next election, but definitely the Bardella, his new president, will definitely giving kind of a tough fight to the other candidates. And also the huge right-wing movement there in Germany, there in Netherlands, there in Norway, everywhere the right-wing parties, even in India, even in Japan. Recently, the ruling party got defeated in the Senate election because of the right-wing this thing, right? So we can have various things, and also this LGBT thing and various other things are now spreading all over the world. And this thing create kind of a geosocial things, create kind of a global phenomena like Arab Spring, anti-migration movements, and revolutions, anti-revolutionary things, and various other things. So, in conclusion, I must say that the geopolitical dynamics shapes the national security through multiple dimensions. You must understand it's a not single dimensional thing, it's a multiple dimensional thing. Influencing it politically, economically and militarily and also diplomatically. The energy security is a keystone when you are talking about this national security. Thank you for listening to me.
Question and answer session. I will kick off it with a question to Mr. Ranawaka. How have Sri Lanka energy partnerships, such as those involving regional grid integration or foreign investments in renewables, affect our geopolitical dependencies and security postures? If I may add some context, recently I met chairman of the Central Electric Authority of India. He was saying that this will have a lot of benefits to Sri Lanka if we get interconnected, and our system will be, because of our renewable energy, solar and wind system is in balance. If we are connected to India, that the balance will come in. So what do you say, Mr.
Actually, we called it NCRE, non-conventional renewable energy, wind and solar. We have a very big wind potential. Some estimates says that around 20 megawatts. That means basically 10 times of the current consumption levels. And solar potential is huge, but not much as the wind potential. But they are intermittent sources. They are fluctuating. So we need, if we can add these potentials into a huge pool of energy, then you can use these energies in a in a practical way. For example, in European supergrid, you can generate wind power in Denmark and use it in other places in Europe, because its energy pool is so huge that intermittent and fluctuating kind of things can be absorbed. In that way, the ADB was proposed in 1991, the South Asian supergrid, so that we can generate things. For example, in Nepal, we have huge hydro potential, and in Pakistan and Afghanistan, huge solar potential. Here in Sri Lanka, we have huge wind potential, even there in Tamil Nadu as well. But unfortunately, we can't utilize this energy in our very small grid, so that we can export and import energy with kind of a South Asian grid. The problem is that there should be a proper regulatory authority. Unless otherwise, the big powers may use this grid connectivity, to punish these small powers. What happened in Bangladesh? When Bangladesh revolted against the India, when Sheikh Hasina fled to that country, the Adani group simply switched off the Bangladesh-Indian connectivity line. So that kind of things could not be happen if there is a third party like ADB or IAO or whatever the international party to regulate this thing. Without it, it's a very dangerous trap if you are going to connect with these big powers. Other thing is that there's a big myth here in Sri Lanka. We have not kind of a sufficient energy pool here. There's a big myth. We need more and more power plants. Even the CEB is planning another coal plant in the third phase of coal plant in Putlam, and also another diesel plant. No need, because our capacity right now is 5,500 megawatt at least. Our peak demand is 2,500. So why should we need more and more power plants? We want very good transmission network and kind of a balanced distribution network to handle all these things in a very good energy mix, I mean. And in 2023, when that government, Gotabaya Rajapaksa government, determined 70% of our energy should be coming from these green energy things, the CEB submitted a proposal. There they admitted the existing grid can absorb at least 2,700 megawatt of green energy. They accepted it. The chief engineer, the general manager of CEB submitted that report. No one opposed. But suddenly, when this new government came into power, there's an instability. We must curtail these things, right? In last year, 2024, November 7th, the CEB, the system control engineer wrote to the minister, the system is unstable. So we want to curtail this solar and wind energy. But a year ago, they submitted the same report, we can absorb around 2,700. It's just now around 1,500. Another 1,200 can be added, right? So this is a very huge conspiracy, because in February 7th, another letter was sent, and February 9th, we experienced blackout all over the country. Not a single person being punished yet. Around 6.5 billion being wasted. Now we can see the petty cash Horace being jailed, right? 100,000 rupees there, 50,000 rupees here. But 6.5 billion lost to the country and the economy by way of this destruction. And the report is totally flawed. The report says it was Putlam coal plant, but in actual figures I investigated, it was the Victoria plant, right? He knows this, right? They simply, no punishment yet, no investigation, right? No investigation. At least there is a thing. And thereafter they said, earlier it was monkey who disrupted this thing. Then they says, it's solar. Generating solar, wind. This is a huge thing. And even they curtailed hydropower. Hydropower means the small type of hydropower. When 2010, we installed this solar panel in Mr. Mahipala's house. It's a few kilowatts. Now it's around 1,000 megawatt, bigger than the Putlam coal plant. Some 600 small and medium scale, entrepreneurs are there. 40,000 employees are there. They are going to kill this business, kill this entrepreneurship. It's a locally generated entrepreneurship. This power mafia is now dominating the whole thing, right? Recently they signed the new diesel plant with 72 rupees per unit. Now asking 14 rupees for solar, right? How can we justify all these things, right? So we have enough energy. The only thing is we have to properly manage these things. The myth is that CEB is, making losses, right? All these are myths. When I assumed duties as Power and Energy Minister in 2015, January 15, the finance manager is a very genuine person, told me that, sir, we are going to lose 45 billion this year, right? What happened? We know that how these things are operating. I simply shut down 5 diesel powered plants, right? And at the end, the 100-day program in Yapalana, at the end, we simply have 20 billion profits. They are predicting 45 billion loss. We earned 20 billion profits. The 65 billion turnaround. So what happened? This power mafia went to the higher up and telling them the minister should be somehow fired. So they created kind of a new ministry called Megapolis and kicked me up there, right? And you can see 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. 2019, 90 billion loss, right? Because of the mismanagement, right? They are not allowing, proper management to be there. We have enough things. We can add up more and more green energy to our system. And also, there must be a thing from year 2000, billions of US dollars been invested in our grid by way of loans. JICA, ADB funded these things. How can these engineers are now telling us that grid is insufficient to absorb all these things? You can't evacuate these things, right? So, if we are going to export our energy to India or the South Asian grid, it's okay. But there must be a independent authority. You can see what happened this Indo-Pakistan water treaty. It was supported by World Bank and it was signed in 1960. Suddenly, now they rescind it and they go away from this thing. And Pakistan will suffer in the time to come. So that kind of things should be avoided, right? And also this DC link, that proposal was there some 3 decades time, right? Not materialized. That's the bloody truth, right? So we have to be very careful because the weak people, weak leaders may be dominated by the international forces. That's what we are now experiencing in this country. And also the internal forces, not the government. The internal business mafia is now trying to monopolize the green energy sector as well. You know that some tender being given, the tech committee refused it, the tender committee refused it, and that company was given this tender, 50 megawatt wind tender. The money we know, the laundering money from a one lead in casino, right? So
Thank you, sir.
that's the thing, right? I can explain it how these things are going on, but we are not going to let them to monopolize the green energy field. Let our business people, hundreds of our small and medium scale business people to do our things.
Yeah, thank you. Professor Pascual, Mrs. Musin, you want to comment anything on this? Okay. All right. You want to ask a question?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to
Introduce yourself first.
Yes.
And ask a question.
I want to know from Mr. Ranawaka. Now he said we have 5,000.
Don't ask all the questions from Mr. Anoka.
No, we have 5,500 megawatts is available, but we only need 2,500. But when the drought season comes, there are power cuts because how much is on the water? Hydropower.
Hydro is around 1,200, but in drought period, this it depends on the rainfall figures. It's around 15% to maximum 35%. But last 5 years, we don't see any kind of power cuts due to drought. Still, our tanks are full.
But also we are on fossil fuel. Generators are
Yeah, because it's a dispatchable thing, the base load should be run by kind of a firm energy, right? And now we have other problem because of this coal plant. It's actually after 9:30, it's partly loaded. The coal plant should run in a full scale way, right? It is now partly loaded. That's why we introduced in 2015 the electric cars. Because if we allow electric cars to be charged during after 9:30, then you can utilize the coal plant in a efficient way during that 9:30 to morning hours 4:30, that off-peak time. You can charge 700,000 cars from this underutilized power from coal plant. We are just 5,000 cars here in Sri Lanka, the electric cars.
Dr. Ajit Kolonai, I have been wondering whether I should say this in this or not, because I have never diverted this question in public before, but since it's a very appropriate forum, I thought, okay, this is 20 years old, so but I still prefer that you will take it in good spirits and keep it under Chatham House rules, that you will not discuss this outside. The biggest ever threat to our sovereignty since independence evolved in July 2005. The LTT was going to make a unilateral declaration of the Elam state. with the support of some European countries. And then I led this analysis with the team. And in August, on the 2nd, to be very specific, 2005, we said it will be two-pronged. First thing is, they will preempt Mr. Kadiragama as the first step towards going for this. And then the second step would be the demarcation of the territory. So, first step they took since we warned the government within 12 days. And then the demarcation began with the closure of the Mavi Dam. So, but it backfired on them, and they paid the price for it. So just that, but this is something that people, they made a big, the counter argument they made, because they were being instigated by the European countries to go for a peace negotiation with the government and strike a peace agreement. But they asked the question, you yourselves have declared Sri Lanka as a failed nation. It's in that prestigious list of 25th position out of 28 countries. So why are you pressurizing us to go and negotiate with the failed nation? That please support us. So we identified the countries which were very likely to support the cause.
Thank you.
But just keep it under
Not a question, no?
It's not a question, but related to the topic.
Maybe Professor Pesco can add something international relations.
Yeah, there have been a lot of behind-the-scenes issues with regard to peace agreements and such, but one of the interesting aspects of these peace agreements was that both LTTE and the government had made certain promises to the people. Unitary said ELAM. So even at the peace table, it was very difficult to get at the main concern, which was ELAM or unitary state. So that was where where they decided to leave the peace agreement and go for war. Thank you so much for providing that information.
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
first and foremost, let me congratulate Honorable Minister Patali Champika, Mahmoud Zahran. By the way, I think Mr. Champika is a walking encyclopedia on geopolitics, better than Wikipedia, I should say. Coming to my questions. I would like to know from the minister, ex-minister, whether there is any security threat by the presence of these IDF forces in Sri Lanka. Because what they are trying to do in Palestine, they can create, but the LTT couldn't create the ELAM. I think they could create a separate state for them by allowing the presence of IDF forces in Sri Lanka.
I think Madam may explain better. There was a kind of a jurisdiction on this matter. ICC and ICJ, both actually the ICJ, as they categorize Israel as a country, and ICC, they named Mr. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, and the IDF chief for war crimes and crimes against humanity. It affects the IDF soldiers as well. But we don't have a kind of a scrutiny, we don't have a mechanism to scrutinize, to identify IDF soldiers from the normal Israel tourists coming here. But we should not, I think, intervene on this matter, because you know this President Trump, right? He's very crazy on these matters, and he will take very stern action if he protests against the synagogue in Valigama or this Arugambe or here in Colombo or other places, because we are in a very troubled state right now. We are a bankrupt country, and we are under IMF program. IMF what ratios are concerned, it is 16.5 from USA. So USA can do anything. It's like veto power. for them, because 85% needed to pass a kind of a resolution there in IMF board. So we should not scuttle our thing with these international problems, especially the Gaza Street. Our sympathies are with the Gaza people. They were dead, they were actually dying, the huge concentration camp there, and we know all what happened in it's kind of a huge humanitarian crisis. But small country like us, the bankrupted country like us, what can we do, right? So we must ask our citizens not to protest all these things, but the government should scrutinize the Israeli tourists and to identify those who committed war crimes with the normal tourists. Unless otherwise, we will be facing very serious problems. You can see the South Africa. They actually brought these things to ICC. How Trump's actions against South Africa, and now Brazil, right? So we are a very small country, right? So we must be playing very carefully in this international game, right? And when India-Pakistan war or the Ukraine-Russia war, we should not take part on these matters in ideological basis. We must think Sri Lanka first, right? That should be our ideology right now.
Thank you. Professor, you would speak?
No, it's fine. Thank you. That's
Passing, is it?
yeah, I'm passing.
I think the President says now time to finish. So, last question.
Good evening, sir. This Honorable.
What's your name?
I'm Real Saman Modigoda. So I was in Ministry too, sir. Sir, we have another problem that most of the Sri Lankans do not visualize. For Navy, Indian boats, especially fishermen, poaching in numbers, thousands and thousands, that whereas even the Navy cannot handle it at all. So I think we should have some sort of a, way of curtailing this, because most of the time Navy gets the blame for, using at least the minimum power. But now, of course, they are also coming in with a lot of advanced technology, whereas our crafts are not even geared to go and make them. So what do you think that, what sort of an international approach we should do with India to curtail?
The thing is that in various forums, actually, we proved that. For example, when our President Maithripala Sirisena met Prime Minister Modi in Delhi in, I think, 2015 February, Minister Rajitha Senaratne demonstrated in a very scientific manner how these Indian poachers invaded and also poaching in our waters and destroying our, fishing this thing. But the problem is that there are very powerful politicians in Tamil Nadu got involved in this business, right? Although the BJP doesn't have very much, footfall there in Tamil Nadu, they are not going to take action against them. We are very much, that our actions are being very much limited, because everyone knows that, because we have scientific data, thousands of boats invaded our country, but we can't do anything, our Navy can't do anything. But one thing is very clear, during the wartime, our military strength, our armed forces, because the army, its strength is around 200,000 soldiers. I think within next 2-3 years, lot of people are going to retire, because 2006, 2007, huge recruitment drive was there. But we must expand Navy. We should scale down Army, but we should expand our Navy, because we have kind of a continental shelf with 23 times more than our land mass. So we expand our navy, and also we should transform our army into a smart army, right? It's a new kind of war. It's now a drone war and also the cyber war. It's not a early wars with terrorist activities here in Sri Lanka, whether it is JVP insurrection or the LTT separatist war. It's a now different war that is coming, as Madam is correctly pointed out. So we have to be prepared. We have to gear up to that level. We have to expand navy and scale down army.
Can I add?
Okay.
I would like to. I would like to add, I agree with you regarding the expansion of Navy, we need these aspects, but also understand that from the very outset, central government, whichever, whether it's Congress, BJP, had to contend with Tamil Nadu. And that is where the source of all those ships and boats are. We have to really develop this because we have issue with the Nikit Islands that's coming up, and India is asking the international community, the UNCLOS, to provide them an unusual area which should belong to Sri Lanka. We have requested this, but we cannot get that. Nikit, that if we don't have access to that, we lose out on the cobalt. And so we have to come at a stronger position, and we need a combination of the naval side, the kind of the scientific side, so that's where we need the kind of strength, because India is going to come at us with that.